May I now request Mr. Suresh Lulla, Director of BestPrax Club, to please step up to the dais and welcome our distinguished dignitaries and our delegates. Thank you.
Dr. Robert Camp, Dr. Robin Mann, GBN directors, participants in the BestPrax benchmark competition, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second GBN Benchmarking Roadshow, an executive workshop on structured benchmarking. The second GBN Benchmarking Roadshow has been organized by BestPrax Club, India, in partnership with Benchmarking Partnerships Australia. Dr. Camp, we have great expectations. I sincerely hope and am reasonably sure that the executive workshop on structured benchmarking will mature our approach to quality and performance excellence in the near future in India, particularly since the focus is on leadership and strategic planning. As we all know, India must sustain economic growth at more than 8% per annum for a decade or more to be a global force to be reckoned with. This will require extraordinary leadership and strategy. We will need to perform faster, better, cheaper, and different in a global market. That's why benchmarking and innovation of best practices are critical for business, healthcare, and education, the three segments that will define India by 2020. The speakers for the next days are Dr. Robert Camp, lifetime president of the Global Benchmarking Network, a network he founded in 1994 to bring together organizations that have similar interests. The BestPrax Club is a member of the Global Benchmarking Network. He's also the principal of Best Practice Institute, USA. Dr. Robin Mann, chairman of Global Benchmarking Network and managing director of the Center for Organizational Excellence Research, Massey University, New Zealand. Bruce Searles, Director, Business Development, GBN, and Managing Partner, Benchmarking Partnerships, Australia, our partner for this event. Dr. Holger Kohl, Head of the Department of Business Excellence Methods, as well as of Information Center Benchmarking at the Fraunhofer Institute of Production Systems and Design Technology in Germany. Naveen Kapoor, Managing Director of Expertise United, Dubai. I happen to be one of the speakers. I was elected to Director Membership Retention and Engagement at GBN last year, and I'm also the founder of the BestPrax Club, a Kimpro enterprise. Equally important for this workshop are 16 organizations that participated in the BestPrax benchmark competition for leadership and governance. The competition process was driven by the voice of the people and executives harvesting best practices. We are grateful to these pioneers and the organizations are, as you see them on the screen. Each organization has discovered several good practices for leadership and strategy resident in their organization. They were unaware, in some cases, of their excellence. Examples abound. Congratulations to all the 16. We would have liked to showcase all practices from our organizations, 160 practices to be precise. As a solution, we are preparing a compendium of best practices to showcase all 16 participants. The identified practices have supported the ratings earned by each organization for the management categories, leadership, and strategic planning. The ratings for each of leadership and strategy range between 6 and 8 on a scale of 10. This calls for a celebration. Shortly, each organization will receive their certificates from Dr. Robert Kemp. Dr. Robin Mann and Bruce Sells had participated in the BestPrax Conclave last April. Their mission was to understand the level of practices prevailing in India. I believe they were impressed. Their hidden agenda was to identify a set of Indian practices that would reinforce the educational aspects of the executive workshop on structured benchmarking. Most of the delegates have traveled. In the monsoons, this is even more challenging. We appreciate your enthusiasm and interest in the subject of benchmarking. I realize we are all waiting to hear Dr. Kemp. What we should like to hear from him is a roadmap for Indian organizations to internalize structured benchmarking, as well as insights on how to do things faster, better, cheaper, and different. But before we commence, on behalf of all present, I would like to pay traditional Indian respect to our teacher, Dr. Robert Kemp. May I request Dr. Kemp to come forward to accept our offering. Thank you. So welcome to the second benchmarking roadshow on structured benchmarking. The first step in structured benchmarking is to understand what is benchmarking. The authority on the subject, Dr. Robert Kemp, will engage us on the theme for the next 90 minutes. I'd like to give a brief introduction to Dr. Robert Kemp. He is principal of Best Practice Institute, an international research, education, and consultation organization focused on the capture, exchange, and adoption of best practices worldwide through benchmarking. He's based in Ithaca, New York, and works with government agencies, nonprofit organizations, educational institutions, and many large domestic and international manufacturing and service organizations. Dr. Kemp was responsible for creating the benchmarking program for Xerox Logistics and Distribution Organization. He has been responsible for several large-scale benchmarking investigations of product delivery and business processes. He directed the internal network, which ensured that customer satisfaction and business results improved through incorporation of best practices in products, services, and business processes. Dr. Camp has written 3 books: Benchmarking, the search for industry best practices that lead to superior performance, in 1989. This is a classic. Business Process Benchmarking, Finding and Implementing Best Practices, in 1995. And Global Cases in Benchmarking Best Practices from Organizations Around the World. Dr. Camp is a contributing author of Benchmarking for Superior Performance in Duran's Quality Control Handbook. Let's give a big hand to Dr. Camp and request him to take over.